9 with an urgent weather report. Here are the weather specialists, James Manzo and Michael Arocho.
Hi, it's Manzo. I'm going to inform you on where and when Hurricane Whopper is going to hit. As you can tell, this is very similar to Hurricane Katrina. It originated from Florida and will pass through Georgia and Louisiana. Here's my colleague Michael Arocho with some information on hurricanes.
Thank you, James. And hello, folks. My name is Michael Arocho, and I will be informing you on how a hurricane forms and the specific conditions that create this type of event. The two essential ingredients in every hurricane are warm water and moist, warm air. That's why hurricanes begin in the tropics. Most Atlantic hurricanes start to take shape when thunderstorms along the west coast of Africa drift out over warm ocean waters that are at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit and 27 degrees Celsius, where they encounter converging winds from around the equator. Hurricanes start when warm, moist air from the ocean surface begins to rapidly rise, where it encounters cooler air that causes the warm water vapor to condense and to form storm clouds and drops of rain. The condensation also releases latent heat, which warms the cool air above, causing it to rise and make way for more warm, humid air from the ocean below. As the cyclone continues, more warm, moist air is drawn into the developing storm, and more heat is transferred from the surface of the ocean to the atmosphere. This continuing heat exchange creates a wind pattern that spirals around a relatively calm center, or eye, like water swirling down a drain. This is due to the Coriolis effect, which is a product of the Earth's rotation. Hurricane Whopper is not categorized as a category. It's categorized as Category 4, Extreme. This means that the central pressure will be between 920 to 944 millibars. The storm surge is 13 to 18 feet. This also means that inland will be flooding as far as 6 miles and complete destruction of mobile homes. And now, back to James with the last devastating hurricane named Katrina, and how we can protect ourselves for the future generations to come.
The last hurricane that occurred was Katrina. Hurricane Katrina was one of the deadliest hurricanes in the history of the United States. It confirmed death toll of district and in-district deaths stood at 1,836 mainly from Louisiana, 1,577 in Mississippi, 238, however, 705 people remain categorized as missing in Louisiana. So this number is not final. Many of the deaths are indirect. It is almost impossible to determine the exact cause of some of the fatalities. Hurricane Katrina was the costliest hurricane in the history, with $7.5 billion in estimated damages. A way for us to prevent many lives to be lost is we take many precautions. If you are asked to evaluate, you should do so without delay. But unless you live in a coastal or low-lying area, the area that floods frequently, or in manufactured housing, it is unlikely that emergency managers will ask you to evacuate. This means that it is important for you and your family to have a plan, and that makes you as safe as possible in your home. Disaster prevention includes modifying your home to straighten it against storms so that you can be as safe as possible. It also includes having to supply or hand to weather the storm. These suggestions provided here are only guides. You should use common sense in your disaster prevention. Develop a family plan. Your family's plan should be based on the vulnerability in the hurricane hazards. You should keep a written plan to share your plans with other friends or family. Create a disaster supply kit. There are certain items you need to have regardless of where you ride out a hurricane. The disaster supply kit is a useful tool when you evacuate, as well as making you as safe as possible in your home. Secure your home. There are things you can do to make your home more secure and able to withstand stronger storms. There are websites that give you information about your community's vulnerability to specific hazards. These include hurricanes as well as other weather-related hazards. Related information. Online to Michael Arocho for additional safety information.
Thanks, James. A family disaster plan. Discuss the types of hazards that could affect your family. Know your home's vulnerability to storm surge, flooding, and wind. Locate a safe room or the safest areas in your home for each hurricane hazard. In certain circumstances, the safest areas may not be your home, but within your community. Determine escape routes from your home and places to meet. Have an out-of-state friend as a family contact so all your family members have a single point of contact. Make a plan now for what to do with your pets if you need to evacuate. Post emergency telephone numbers by your phones and make sure your children know how and when to call 911. Check your insurance coverage. Flood damage is not usually covered by homeowners insurance. National Flood Insurance Program. Stock non-perishable emergency supplies and a disaster supply kit. Use a NOAA weather radio. Use a NOAA weather radio. Remember to replace its battery every 6 months, as you do with your smoke detectors. Take first aid, CPR, and disaster preparedness classes. After a storm, have a valid identification. You will not be allowed back into your area unless you can show some proof of residency. Stay at home and avoid sightseeing, which can impede emergency and recovery response from officials. Be aware of snakes, insects, and animals driven to higher ground. Avoid downed or dangling utility wires. Enter your home with caution. Be cautious with fires. Do not strike matches until you are certain there are no gas leaks. If a power outage occurs, turn off or disconnect all motor-driven appliances and fixtures to avoid from sudden surges when power is restored. Avoid using candles, as they may result in a fire. Use a flashlight. Fill clean containers with water for drinking and cooking. Store water in a bathtub. Store water in a bathtub for washing and to flush toilets. Turn the refrigerator and freezer controls to the coldest settings. To keep spoiling and thawing of food to a minimum, open the refrigerator or freezer as seldom as possible during a blackout. Food will stay frozen for up to 48 hours if a freezer is full and tightly packed and the door is kept closed. Food is partly filled. Freezer may keep for. If food is partly filled, freezer may keep frozen. If food is partly filled, freezer may keep frozen for 24 hours. Fill empty freezer spaces with reusable ice containers, or fill empty milk containers about 4/5 full of water. Cap the containers loosely and place it in an empty space. If the food in the freezer does defrost, use it within 1 or 2 days. Never refreeze food that has thawed completely. How do you tell if it has gone bad? The rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is, if in doubt, throw it out. Here's our weather girl extraordinaire, Margie Tocora.
see, Hurricane Whopper started in the upper part of Florida and has gone southward and has passed through Georgia and Louisiana and will continue to move along the southern border of America. The wind speed of this massive hurricane has a wind speed of 920 to 944 millbars. The storm surge is 13 to 18 feet. The dew point is 67 degrees. The wind direction is east, and the temperature will be 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Now back to the news desk.
To all of us here at News Channel 99, I'm James.
I'm Michael Arocho.
And I'm Margie Tocora.
So long, America!
You know